Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Woo Curious podcast. Your map to the mystical, your key to the sacred, and your guide back home to yourself. I'm Eileen, a writer, a spiritual coach, energy healer, and slow living witch. This podcast is your invitation to explore a world where the mundane and the sacred intertwine. It's a haven for those ready to take the first steps into the realms of magic and mystery, providing a safe space for you to embark on your own enchanted journey towards healing and self-discovery. Here, I'll unveil the whispers of the mystical, the rituals often hidden in plain sight, and I'll engage in sacred conversation intended to stir your soul and lead you back into your power. I'm all about demystifying woo and witchcraft. So, whether you're a seasoned seeker or simply woo curious, I'm so delighted you've decided to join me on this journey. Let's make magic. Hello, Woo crew, and welcome back to another episode of the Woo Curious podcast. I am your host, Eileen, and we're back again with another solo episode. In fact, I believe that all the remaining episodes for the 2025 Gregorian calendar year will be solo episodes. I am sitting down to record with a couple of guests next week, which I'm excited to do. I have another guest episode recorded that's dropping January 13th. And so I think I'm going to simply take the pressure off of myself during this season of Restmas and allow for the remainder of this year, of this Gregorian calendar year, to be simple, short, sweet solo episodes. Of course, we will be having a Yule episode. Next week's episode will be all about Yule, the history, the traditions, the energies of the season. I will, of course, be hosting a live Yule ceremony on December 20th at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That will be hybrid, as always, between some folks being here in Calgary with me in my home, and then the remainder of folks online with us in the circle, in the room. And I continue to receive really beautiful feedback about the experience of both online participants and live participants at these ceremonies, at these circles. It's a really, really lovely reminder to drop in, to slow down. It's a potent way to connect really deeply with the energies of the season. I know for me, if I haven't committed to something specific, made time in my calendar, potentially paid for it, and planned to show up to that deep inner work, I struggle to do so, to find the time, to not just to find the time, but to create the time and then hold myself to it. Even though this is my work, even though this is what I do and what I hold people through, self-care and taking those moments to get still, to pause, to slow down, to introspect, I am still a product of this society, and so I struggle sometimes to actually do the work, which is part of why I hold these ceremonies, because I am then accountable and responsible for showing up to the practice with you as well. And one participant, after attending a few ceremonies, left me the most beautiful review saying how when she first started to attend ceremony with me, she felt like it was another thing to make time for in her calendar, in her busy life. And what she realized after attending one or two of these ceremonies was that rather than having to make time for them, they actually created time and spaciousness for her, which was the most beautiful thing anyone could ever have left a review for me around with these ceremonies. So if you haven't been to one yet, I'd encourage you to go ahead on over to my website, www.myluminouslife.ca. Go into the Wheel of the Year ceremonies tab at the Work With Me, on the Work With Me section at the top, and come join us for Yule. Or if you're part of Restmas already, just hit the upgrade your Restmas experience. You'll get Yule and you'll get 2 more guided rest practices this week and one next week as well, in addition to the Yule ceremony. Okay, that's enough of a plug for all of that. I really didn't know that's where I was headed to begin with, but here we are. As usual, a little bit of a rough idea of where I wanted to go, what I wanted to speak to today, how I wanted to connect with you and be of service to you, and a little bit of allowing the magic to flow through me. I continue to be enchanted by the book that I'm reading that I talked about last week that inspired my Fuck Descartes rant slash poetry last week. The book by Bayo Komolafe, Letters to His Daughter on Humanity's Search for Home. And the entanglement of all beings with all other beings. The idea that there is no such thing as a discrete individual or entity, and that our becoming is a continual process that is shaped and created in our interaction with all other living, non-living beings around us on this planet, from our computers to the plants to other humans to the clothing on our bodies. And this is a really interesting distinction between interaction and intra-action, where interaction is this idea of 2 discrete individual bodies, beings, things interacting, with each other, affecting each other. Rather, this idea of intra-action is that there is an entangled becoming as we move with each other. Oh, it's really, I'm really not going to be able to do this beautiful concept justice, but I'll probably keep talking about it and getting clearer about it as we go. But it does really feel to me a little more mycelial. There's no way to remove the individual from the whole, much like I spoke of the gut bacteria and all the other beings that make up a human being. Even ourselves, even if we're in a vacuum chamber, we are not a discrete entity. We are made up of so many other little microbial beings that are a part of us. And so this really leads me into what I wanted to share with you today, this helpful tool, this practice, a few practices that I want to share with you today as we move further into the holiday season, as we come into multiple situations with many others. I'm thinking parties, I'm thinking gatherings, pageants, I don't know, Christmas, Advent, something. I'm also thinking family, right? Family gatherings, coming together in a space that is so ripe with tradition, but that can also be fraught with lots of big emotions, tensions. Perhaps your relationships with the people in your family are not always easy. For most of us, that's true. I know I'm not the only one, because I've asked, and it's like every woman I've ever talked to is like, oh yeah, me too. That the moment I'm around my mother, I suddenly revert to this like pig-headed teenager. I'm working so hard on it, and it's really annoying that it happens, and yet it's true. And so even if that is kind of all of the difficulty in coming together with people, there is this need to be able to navigate this season with some grace and ease, and with the awareness that because we are all entangled, it's really easy to end up energetically either feeling really drained or like you're carrying a lot of shit that doesn't belong to you. And so this came up for a client recently in an energy healing session that I did. And I do these healings when people work with me one-on-one. I do these remote energy healings. So they happen while my clients go about their day. No need for them to schedule anything else into their busy time. Some of my clients like to, go for a walk or plan to be outside while I'm doing them, but most feel like it's just good enough to receive. Their energetic body doesn't mind where their physical body is. And something that really came through for this particular client was this real deep feeling of lots of energy leaks and lots of inability to shield or guard herself from other people's energies that she is in all day, every day at work. She's in a caring profession, as many of my clients are. And so picking up those sticky energies of other people, which again, around the holiday season, there's a lot more events, things happening where we might be in other people's energies that perhaps we would generally choose to simply avoid, but being the season and the expectations that come with the season, we can't avoid. So I would love to share with you here 2 really powerful, potent, energetic practices that you can do. One, to help you stop up some of that leaky energy, repel some of the sticky energy, and cleanse what does get through. So let's start with the shielding practice. This is something that at some time or another I have encouraged every single person I've worked with, I believe. Come tell me if I'm wrong. If I didn't tell you, I'm telling you now. But this practice of shielding, and I actually received it. If you've been here for very long with me on this ride, you may have heard the Akashic Records episode way earlier this year, back in March, I believe, March or April, with Leanne Mercredi of Spruce Energy Healing. And she does Akashic Records readings. And when I had a reading done with her, she gave me this practice. So I want to give credit where credit is due. I learned this from her and I've used it myself lots, and my clients have used it lots. And it's so simple. And the practice is this: before you go into a situation where you know there might be some sticky energies around, where you know you might come away feeling drained, or you feel like you need some protection from what might be coming towards you or being demanded of you, take a moment to, and this can be like before you leave your house to go to family dinner or whatever it is, take a moment to pause, close your eyes if you can, 3 deep breaths, really ground yourself into your body. It's always a good idea when we're doing energetic practices to first ground ourselves in our own body using the breath, and then ground ourselves on the earth, connecting to that sense of being rooted and held, that earth energy that is always there, right there, ready for us. And visualize a bubble of energetic light that encompasses your whole body. And whatever color comes to mind as you visualize this bubble, I always say, as you will know if you've been here long, let yourself be right. Let the color that springs to mind give you some information, perhaps about the type of protection you might need. And the colors are associated with the chakras. You can look up their symbolic meaning too if you want to go deeper. But allowing that energetic bubble, it's semi-opaque, so it's transparent in that you can see out, but it's there. You can see that there's a color there as you visualize it. Once you open your eyes again, it won't be there unless you're really, really, really sensitive to energies. And as you visualize this bubble, understanding and creating it in such a way that it is semi-permeable, selectively permeable. Your love, your care, anything that you want to be able to emanate out from you has no troubles passing through. Other people's love and care and the energies that you want to be able to bathe in when you come, maybe it's your little niece's adoration of you that you're like, I don't want to block that out in any way. That comes in, right? Anything that feels good easily passes through this shield. But anything that feels bad, any negativity, any judgment, anything icky or sticky, it comes up to the shield. You can see it so that you can acknowledge it. You can still engage with it, but it hits the shield. It falls off the shield. Mother Earth, that earth energy, graciously absorbs it. She has infinite capacity to take in those energies that don't belong to us, that we don't need to be carrying around. She transmutes them, composts them, if you will, returns them to where they belong. And so that's that shielding technique, and it can be really, really helpful. And you can even, mid conversation, if you start to feel like you're getting pulled in or starting to collect some of that stickiness, taking that pause, if it's not appropriate to close your eyes, even just doing a really simple little technique of coming back to your body that involves rubbing your thumb and forefinger gently, gently together, but paying enough attention that you can feel the ridges, the fingerprint on your thumb with your forefinger, and then shift that attention so you can feel the ridges on your forefinger with your thumb. So something as simple as that for 3 breaths, and reactivate that visual, that shield. You don't have to close your eyes to do it. Once you've put it in place, you'll have kind of a sense of it. So this is one of my 2 practices for today to gift you, to help support you energetically through this holiday season. Put that shield up as often as you need. The other practice that I encourage all of my clients to do as well, and that I practice every day before bed and when I get in the shower, is an energetic cleansing. So if you are the type of person who has a daily shower, I am not. I have daily rinses, but I don't have a full shower. But if you are getting the shower daily, and even if you're not, when you are getting in the shower, visualizing, having a real intention of letting that water, as it hits your body, as it pours down across your body, letting it cleanse away anything that you've picked up that doesn't belong to you or that isn't serving you, that isn't yours. Another practice, because most of us don't shower right before bed. My mom's an exception to that one. But if you do, it's perfect. But the practice that I do daily is before bed, and you can pair this with something like brushing your teeth or grabbing your glass of water or anything that's a routine already that you never forget to do before bed, and maybe leaving yourself a sticky note to start to get in the habit of this, right? Because introducing a new thing, we have the best intentions of doing it, and then we forget. Maybe it's a little alarm on your phone for 10 minutes before bedtime, whatever it is, to prompt your mind, your memory, to practice an energetic cleansing. And again, this is really, really simple. It doesn't take long. Taking a moment, maybe you're sitting at the edge of your bed, maybe you're standing beside it, taking a moment to take a few deep breaths in and out, again, connecting with your body, connecting with the energy of the earth, closing your eyes and envisioning a beautiful, warm waterfall of light pouring down from above onto your body. Again, whatever color of light arrives, let yourself be right. Letting that light energy cleanse your whole energetic field, your whole aura, your energy body, yourself, of anything that you've picked up during the day. No matter how good, quote unquote, of a job we've done protecting ourselves energetically, there will still be stuff that gets stuck to us. And it might be our own worried thoughts, right? It might be our own anxieties, dilemmas. It might be other people's anxieties creeping their way in. Whatever it is, allowing that light, that beautiful, warm, watery light to wash over you, clear it all away, return it to the earth, let her transmute it so that you can step into bed clean and clear and able to actually rest and sleep. And sometimes if I'm struggling to sleep, I'll repeat this exercise in bed while I'm laying down. If I've noticed my thoughts are starting to get frenzied and carried away, all up in a swirl, and they're keeping me awake, I do this visualization again and remember they will be there for me in the morning. If I need to pick them back up, I certainly can. But right now, sleep is my best friend. So I hope that you find these practices helpful. I know I spoke about them briefly in my stories on Instagram the other day, and I had a few people reach out saying they'd tried them already or used them. So I'd love to hear if you use these practices. Maybe you use them already, or maybe I've reminded you of something you used to do, or maybe they're brand new. And I would love to hear how they land for you, how it feels, if they're useful. Always, I'm so delighted when folks come on over to I am Eileen March on Instagram and share what they're learning or hearing or feeling, or drop into the comment section. If you're listening on Spotify, there's the ability to comment below. I will always read every single comment and reply. And how could I forget? I have to say thank you so much to each and every one of you who have listened to this podcast this year, who have left me ratings, who have left me reviews. I just got my Spotify Wrapped for the year, and my own personal Spotify Wrapped is always a little bit funny because I primarily use Spotify for background music for ceremony and client work and my own focused work. And I use Apple Music to listen to like my actual music. So Spotify thinks I have some really interesting taste in music. Lots of Gregorian chanting happened this year that I was using to drown out Greg watching Seinfeld in bed beside me while I was trying to read. So that part is funny, but I do also get, if you don't have a podcast, you might not know that podcasters also get a Spotify Wrapped for their podcast. And some crazy cool stats to me. There are 55 of you listening for whom this show is in your top 5. And for 21 people listening to the Woo Curious podcast, I was your number 1. And I actually get a little teary as I think about that. 21 people for whom this is the show you come back to every week. And I just couldn't be more grateful. I couldn't be more grateful and delighted. So that's my huge thank you to you. Thank you for being here. I hope these practices today were helpful. If you haven't yet signed up for Restmas, come on in. The water's warm. We're still going. We've still got 2 weeks of restful practices, little meditations that are only available to folks inside Restmas. They're not the ones on Insight Timer, aside from the welcome meditation if you want to go get a taste of it, and some guided rest practices. As I said, you can hop into Yule with us too. Okay, much love to you all. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you're having a beautiful December thus far, and I look forward to dropping in with you same time next week. Bye for now.